Does that mean we're live? I just got Twitter.
Oh, yes. Yep. That's. Did you follow us specifically on Twitter?
Yes, I think so.
Start it up.
Maybe.
All right. Hey, everybody. Here at Fisher's Chatham Tap, I just want to let you know that you're probably wondering who these crazy people up on the stage are. Our names is the Permanent Relegation Podcast. We do a soccer podcast here every Tuesday. So obviously it's a soccer bar. Apologize if you're not here for a podcast, but we've got two special guests here this evening. So definitely want to get to them here in just a second.
More special than us. So
everybody's more special than us. Obviously here at Fisher's Chatham, we've got the Upland Tap Takeover. So Chris, do you want to go and give the beers?
Yeah, tonight make sure, obviously, we support local beer. It's one of the big things that we have strived to do since we started this podcast. But tonight, Upland has their wheat ale, their Dragonfly IPA, their Campside Session IPA, which is delicious, by the way, barrel-chested barley wine, their Bacchus Monster Doppelbock, and their Champagne Velvet Pilsner. All fantastic beers. Try all of them, but then drive safely home. Wait.
And of course, we're live on YouTube, youtube.com/permanent relegation. You can tweet us at PR Podcast Show using the hashtag BYBcast to ask any questions for our guest. Of course, as always, I'm drinking. We just went through the Upland Tap Takeover, but the official beer of the Permanent Relegation Podcast, as well as the Brickyard Battalion, is the Full 90 Pale Ale.
12.
Chuck, have you tried the Full 90 yet?
I don't drink.
Okay, that's right. No. Cory,
but I'm sure it's lovely.
I haven't, but I need to.
All right. Our guest this evening.
Chuck's gone.
So you hear
Chuck's out of here.
Just so you know, the voices are, I am Andy, as usual.
Chris
over here. Across the table from us, Indy 11 defender.
Cory
Miller. And WTHR's very own Chuck Lofton.
Good to be with you guys tonight.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Well, she had made a joke before you got here that, there's a chance, what if Chuck doesn't show up, and you're going to have two pieces of bad news. One, Chuck's not coming, and two, that means there's bad weather.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you did kind of make a caveat that if the weather permitting, you'll be here.
Right, and it's just beautiful out there right now.
But when things pop off, you got to head back into the...
I'm going to make him just naturally say so many weather phrases, and it's just absolutely beautiful out there today with a stunning 67 degrees and please cloudy, right?
I've got to get that out of my system.
Yeah,
no, no, I won't, because it's going to be so good.
And of course, very casual podcast. So, if anybody has questions that's out there listening here at Fisher's Chatham or on Twitter, make sure that you get them in so that we can get the questions rolling through. But as usual, we'll just start with kind of getting to know the guests, and we'll start with you, Cory. I kind of want to know, obviously, a little bit about your story. You kind of came in the end of the season last season. Where did you come from when you got picked up from Indy 11?
Well, I was playing in LA probably 12 months prior, and then I didn't get picked up. I went on trial with Orlando City and a few other places, and ended up going overseas trying to pick up a contract. And when I came back, I was just trying to train. So I wasn't even trying to sign with Indy. I was out there just training, and just happened there was a spot open, so signed. And it's better to play in games than just train for 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
And you're local too, right?
Yeah,
you're from around here.
Yeah, my family lives in Zionsville, so it's pretty nice.
So what was it like to come back? And I know that you and Chuck were kind of talking about it before we kind of went on the air, but what was it like to come back and play for the home team? And when did you start to hear about a team coming here?
It was actually kind of strange. They when they first announced the team in the paper, they actually have my picture in the paper because my rookie year I played for Carolina in the league. So all of a sudden my parents are sending me pictures like, hey, you're in the paper? Indy's getting a new team. I was like, what? Oh, there's a picture of me playing for Carolina.
Did I get signed?
Yeah. I was like
traded.
I was like, oh, I'm in. I mean, next year when they actually start, shoot, I'm in. Right. It didn't work out that way, but
I think your food's
eventually
here.
Worked out.
Yes. Please do it.
Go
Don't even
ahead.
hear.
Yeah.
I'm just going to clear you a spot.
The listeners know when the waiter comes up with either food or beer, we can have a nice little pause.
Right.
So
for our team nutritionist, I'm eating a delicious salmon sandwich.
Uh-oh.
and fruit.
Well, remember,
keep
you
the
got to
weight
make
down.
weight. You have to make weight.
Yeah,
Here's
right.
looking at you, Christian.
I'll give you 40 pounds, Cory.
Yeah, right. I could use a few.
Well, yeah, because because we have the big bald assassin. I don't know about
Yeah,
the big part.
your
so
Twitter
let's talk
handle.
about that.
Let's
real
talk
quick.
about your Twitter handle.
We have this
All
guy
right.
walk in. Yes, he's very tall, not necessarily big, and there's definitely nothing bald. We have this luscious man beard
There's
here.
quite a bit of irony now because I have more hair than most people. But when I was in Carolina and going into my second year, I ended up just getting alopecia. Don't know why. Lost all my hair. Had like little bits and pieces here or there. So over about the next 12 months, pretty much all of it fell out. Did a bunch of treatments and it all came back.
Oh,
More luscious than ever.
I need some of that.
See, this is your proverbial tale of why you don't immediately go in and make fun of somebody's Twitter name,
Yeah,
and then they
there
come
it
back
is.
and go, "So
But-
I have a
but
serious
I'll-
medical condition."
A
Thanks,
sad
you
story
jerk.
accompanies
No,
that.
it's great though. It's fun. I got hair now. We're all right. It was actually a radio station in LA like dubbed me Big Bald Assassin. So I was like, well, I have a pretty boring Twitter handle. I might as well change it to that.
What was the Twitter handle beforehand?
I was like Cory Miller _16.
Because it had to be because there's like 1 million Cory Millers,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It
Right.
was like 16 digits long. I was like, all right, I
Right.
don't know what to do.
How do we follow you? I don't know. If you
Yeah.
find it, let me know what my
Yeah,
Twitter
exactly.
handle is. Right.
So when the team got announced, your face was on the article.
That was it.
And when did they actually reach out to you to say, hey, or did you reach out to them? How does that work? It's a different journey with each person.
Yeah.
So how did that kind of work to you getting on the team?
Well, originally I was interested, and then when Orlando City called, I thought, oh, man, that's a great opportunity.
yeah.
They're going to go to MLS, a year later. So I went out there, and when it didn't work out, I had my agent contact them, and
Because of Kaká, they just couldn't afford you.
yeah,
anymore.
that's
really
what it was. Gosh, all my money went to Kaká.
Right.
But
All the
so-
city's money went to Kaká.
Yeah, everyone's money
Yeah,
went to
right?
yeah. But yeah, so I contacted them. I came in they were already a month or two into preseason, and they didn't have any more space when I came in. So I trained for a week and then ended up over the summer going over to Finland and Sweden, and just had a team that was interested, but decided I didn't want to, came back, and then contacted them again, and they were like, oh yeah, come in to train. I was like, all right, sweet, stay fit, live at home. And then
Mom, meatloaf.
yeah, oh yeah, it was great. Living at home was awesome. But yeah, so then they were
Rent-free,
like,
right?
"Hey, why don't you just sign?" And I was like, "That's great."
That's weird. How many people have gone through that weird like Finland, Sweden thing? Because when we were talking to Ben Spencer last year, same deal where he's like, yeah, and I went and played over there. And I'm like, what is it with the transition of having to go play in either Norway or Finland or Sweden?
It's a lot easier to get like work permits over there in Scandinavia.
Oh, really?
So that's why you get a lot of Americans if you're not like a big name guy.
Yeah.
It's easier to get them there. It's very hard to get them if you're not a national team player to get them in Germany, England,
Okay.
wherever. So usually guys go to Scandinavia. Once you're there for a few years, you can get a Euro passport or whatever, move on, or
Huh.
prove yourself, and teams are more likely to try to push for a work permit.
Do they pay better there?
Huh?
Do they pay well there?
Scandinavia is okay. It's hit or miss.
Oh, we
Depends
heard
where
it
you're
first. It was better. He said better. Do they pay better first? I like that.
Oh,
And
better?
he's like, no. Do they pay well?
No.
Better than.
It
Better
depends.
than what?
First division there, yeah, they pay better, but for the most part. But once you get in the lower tiers, it's not that great. Yeah.
So what drove you as a kid to want to play soccer?
I don't know. I was just hyper. It was the only sport I could do that I
They
was just
needed
like
something to calm
always
you down?
moving. Yeah. So my brother was the same way, and they put him in baseball, and he would just sit and pick grass and get distracted. And
Chew on his glove. That
so
was me.
yeah. They were like, all right, you're not going to be able to do that. So they put me in soccer, and it was just
You could just run around.
that's just get some energy out.
So was the position always a defensive position, or how did you land to where you're at now?
No, I was I played in the midfield. I played wing, center mid. Surprisingly,
So reverse Gareth
Yeah,
Bale.
yeah.
He went from front back.
well, I feel like most professional defenders probably started somewhere in the midfield, and they were like, "Okay, I'm not as technically good. Let's just move back." And then you kept growing, so I was like, "I can be a bully and just move on back." But yeah, I didn't start playing center back until probably my senior year of college. And then I finally found a knack for it. So I was like, "Oh, all right, I'm better at this than anything else."
Yeah, so you kind of stuck with it, and then you've played basically all over the world now.
Yeah.
Is it one of those things that you're happy, like coming here, you're happy here, you like it back at home, you like the atmosphere, things like that, kind of your feeling of, especially with the atmosphere at an Indy 11 game, what was it like getting out there?
Right, exactly. Like, have you noticed a difference? Because you played for multiple teams. So when you come back and you go, okay, well, it's Indiana team. All right, I know how this was growing up. That youth programs in Indiana, really, really huge. But as a professional front, how many teams we've gone through, and you go, well, I don't know how this is going to be. And then you see the crowd. How was that? Yeah.
No, it was great. I didn't expect that when I came in, and it was like, oh, okay, we have 10,000, 11,000 every game. And when I played in LA, we didn't have very many fans, and it was like, just wasn't great. You go to the stadium and it'd be this massive 20,000 seat stadium, and it'd be like 100 people out there, and you're like, all right, this
no home advantage at all.
Oh no, zero. And then playing in Carolina was nice. They get good crowds. It's kind of the same atmosphere as here when I was there, and they do a good job. I think when they first were starting to build the team, they kind of went there and picked the brain of the GMs and stuff in Carolina. So yeah, it's pretty similar to that. And playing overseas, I didn't really play in front of any fans because I was always on trial. So I don't really know too much about the fan bases, but I couldn't imagine it's any better than here. The places I was at, I doubt it.
It was half frozen.
Yeah.
Chuck, you've obviously been in Indianapolis for quite
30 years.
30 years now.
Oh my.
I think I've been here longer than you guys have been alive.
No.
Is that pretty much right? No? Okay, pretty close.
Just because
I basically grew up with you.
That's good.
I'm
I appreciate
35,
hearing that.
so
well, I mean that's kind of like a weird backhanded comment. I grew up with you.
Well, he
Basically,
just
I'm going
dropped
to
it.
date you really bad right now.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yes. But where does the soccer fandom come from? I always love to know the journey of people that aren't playing. Or
It's really weird because I've heard Peter Wilt's story, and our story's parallel. I was a Chicago Sting fan in the 70s and into the 80s. Baseball strike in 1981 was the best thing that ever happened for soccer in Chicago because they were selling out their games. And that's really when I started to have a real fondness for soccer. Lee Stern, who brought the Sting to town, was great. And it's odd because I married my wife as a very young man, right out of college in 1979. One of the things that held us together was the MISL. We had no money, so we had enough for cable TV. So we would watch on Friday nights USA Network, Major Indoor Soccer League. Sting put a team in that.
Wasn't that called American Gladiators?
No, it was a little even before that. So we really liked the indoor game, and as a married guy, the first gifts my wife ever gave me was a St. Louis Steamers jersey.
Wow.
And so we went to the Chicago Stadium, watched the Sting play, Karl-Heinz Granitza, Pato Marhetic, and those guys. So that's when I first started really enjoying the sport. I never played it as a kid. We didn't have it where I played. Started to really enjoy that, so followed Major Indoor Soccer League. When I was in Evansville before here, the University of Evansville had a fantastic soccer program, still does. They have Black Beauty Field there, which I think 5,000 or 6,000 they seat.
Oh, nice.
And when that stadium was first built, I was doing sports at that time, had to shoot my own stuff, so would shoot UE soccer games.
Okay.
Really learned the sport, got an appreciation for it. Fast forward to like 1986, I'm here, and the Chicago Sting, played a game at Market Square Arena, an indoor game, and I was at the game with my 3-year-old at the time, who's now in Florida watching this podcast. Hi, Tim. Hi, Paul. But that was the first taste I ever had of how big soccer was in Indiana, way back when. Because the Sting drew probably 5,000 or 6,000 at Market Square Arena. They played the San Diego Sockers. It was a real shootout of a win.
Yeah.
And so, with all my kids played soccer, so it's always been a part of my life. But when I was at the MLS Super Draft a couple of years ago, as kind of a fan of MLS.
Right.
And when Ursal was there and Peter and made the official announcement, I thought, I think this is going to work. I really did. I knew it would work. And to see this, the Indy 11 have this type of success so early is great.
It has to at a point. You go, you can't go through after 7 teams. Eventually, something has to stick you with that youth program. Kind of talking about that here in Indiana, it just makes no sense that you couldn't carry professional, because obviously you have so many. We're known as a basketball state. We know that. And then Peyton turned it really into, football and basketball. But even before that, you had kids that were playing soccer forever and ever and ever. You look at the youth leagues going all the way from Carmel's dad's club, and you had Carmel United, which is now the Indiana Fire. Right. Dynamo. You had all these. Where's the professional presence? So that's this was like a dream.
And I thought the Blast did a great job, Tornadoes, but they didn't have the deep support.
Yeah.
And you have to cultivate. And I do think, too, timing has a lot to do. You guys are all young. You grew up with it, and you were fans of the Premier League. Right. Me, too. My oldest son studied in England and in Ireland, and so he was a fan of Celtic. He was a fan of the Irish national team and Man U. When he studied in England, he was Man U fan. So I kind of picked up on that. The Chelsea-Inter Milan game here, it just kind of, I think, brought everything together.
Sure.
And it right place, right time.
That Chelsea-Inter Milan game was incredible. The fact that there was so many people, like 44,000, I think it was, in Lucas Oil for a soccer game, a preseason.
It was
soccer
incredible
game.
For fans. For the players, that was a different story.
Gosh, the field was horrendous.
I mean, I think there's a point where there's a giant piece of sod about the size of this table kind of shifted and moved over, and everybody just kind of looked at it and went,
just skating on it.
I've got a little story about that.
Sure.
So the day of the game, I'm doing the noon show out there.
Yep.
And they were just opening up the roof.
How was the
because
weather,
it was like, well, let me tell you, it was a greenhouse inside.
Right.
When you walked in, I've never smelled anything like that before. And I interviewed Peter, and as I'm talking to some of the Chelsea support staff, thank you so much. That's nice. As I'm talking to some of the Chelsea support staff, this guy, one of the guys who was in charge of marketing for them worldwide, because they have a presence in literally every country in the world, which I didn't know. He's walking, not running. He's walking toward me, and on the sod slips. Piece of sod comes up.
Oh no!
He goes right on his back, and I thought, this is going to be fun to watch tonight.
Somebody's career is going to get ended.
Some liability issues going on here.
Over here, your face is. We're laughing about this, and Cory's over here going, "No, that just makes
not a good thing.
It's not a good thing."
Well, and the funny thing too is you got. I think it was Jose's first year back coaching Chelsea as well. And for somebody who doesn't shy away from complaining about anything, I'm
surprised he didn't just have a stop the game and have a press conference right in the middle so he could just. Well, really, what did they do? It was perfect for him because he loves to park the bus. So he just parked the bus really early and said, "We're not really going to play." So there you go. Park the bus, Jose.
So you follow Man U still?
I followed Chelsea, actually.
Oh, that's too bad.
Cory, how about you? Well, now let me tell you.
No more questions.
I don't hate Man U, but when Chelsea came here, I thought that was neat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, and
It still doesn't make it enough to follow them.
well, if they come back. But I really enjoyed it. But my sons, I have one son who's a Chelsea fan, and then the other 2 boys really like Man U. As does Bruce Cobb,
we just get no La Liga love here. It's just straight.
I'm kind of indifferent. I don't really have a team.
This is like every player. Literally, we get talking about this like I just don't really follow. I play, but I don't really follow. I don't really care.
I watch, but I don't have like a team. I never really grew up with a team. There was never watched soccer when I was a kid. So
the weird part too is that we've ran into a lot of players who don't watch soccer outside of just them playing. Like Christian always talks about how he's like, I never watch soccer.
Yeah. Oh, you can ask Christian anything. That's what I said. We tried to talk about the game. He's like, no, I didn't watch it.
It's not because he doesn't like it. He made this very clear. He goes, it's not because I don't like it.
I like how every time you do a Christian,
it changes.
It turns
that was
into
a flawless
Indian.
Little impression right there. Flawless.
It's I just don't care. He just doesn't care about it.
Between Christian and Uncle Fester, it sounds like.
There's a little something extra there.
Man, he's gonna do the next time he sees me. He's just gonna mollywop me.
Yeah, yeah, he will.
He can't mess up my hair now, so I'm good.
So, and that's one of the crazy, especially with you being in the media, that media drive from the front office. Everybody there's done a fantastic job.
I think they've done an excellent job.
And they've been super nice to us too. Maz, another full 90, please.
Water. That seems weird. I know. By this point, Maz is normally bringing me my 3rd beer.
Yes, or a shot.
No.
But no, the media coverage has been up and down.
Mm-hmm.
TV loves soccer, and I think it's just the age of HD, and HD broadcast really blew up soccer as well.
Right.
Because I even didn't really watch a lot of soccer on standard def, but when they started broadcasting in HD, I was like, oh, this is much more enjoyable to even watch on TV. News outlets, like paper news outlets, that shall remain nameless, they didn't.
Because there's more than one here in Indy. Well done. Well, outside of
Yes,
there is me,
yes,
though. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
All right, I'll give him that.
But the weird part about reporting on soccer from a media standpoint is a little risky.
Yeah.
Especially because of, like Chris said, it's a football basketball town.
It is.
And so that initial reaction, especially when it was announced that it was going to be an NASL team and not an MLS team,
Right.
a lot of people lost their minds. We're like, well, who cares about minor league soccer? We already have a minor league baseball team, but we need a minor league soccer team. And
plenty of minor league hockey teams as well.
sure,
so, right.
sure. But the support from TV stations.
You say, where are you going exactly?
No, I'm just going to
Where
say,
are you going?
how did you, as being a soccer fan yourself, did you have any kind of like, we got to cover this. This is going to be big. We need to kind of focus a little bit on it.
You got the poll there. They listen.
Oh, yeah.
They go,
Yeah, that's why I've not had a promotion in 30 years.
holy smokes, Simon. Wait a minute. The phones are ringing. It's WTHR.
Former WTHR.
No, I mean, I've been doing the same job for 30 years.
Yeah.
because you're
Actually,
good at it.
it's very, that's a really good point. And it's not an issue that's not lost on just about every TV station, and even in MLS cities. The Fire is not covered in Chicago.
No.
You got the Cubs, you got the White Sox. Kansas City, it's a different story.
Oh, yeah.
Sporting KC,
Yep.
Houston, any of those that have
Houston,
organic growth there. Right.
Seattle, and Portland.
Yep.
And I think it's just going to be something that will grow. I think, especially if the team wins,
Yep.
and with this new proposed stadium, as that gets closer to reality, I think you're going to see more growth. The 15 sellouts in a row have to help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You-
I mean,
you
Proof's in the pudding there.
Yeah, I mean, because it was, we had an interesting experience, and I'll leave individual stations out of this, of how this happened, but it's even down to a thing of there's even presence at the game, but we go to pick up our media passes, and there just happens to be some people there.
For
and it was
some
kind of-
reason, first off, the front office gave us press
Media
access.
Don't know why, dude. That's
Risky.
why.
That's risky.
It's because they knew I was going to get glorious shots of this beard between you. I mean, it was going to be great. They're like,
That is
we
a
need
risk.
better beard shots.
We got to strap a GoPro just here, but just shooting up the
just
entire time.
this is the
Just
perspective of
see
the
this.
game
We just
through a beard.
call it the beard cam.
The beard cam.
You probably like weave it into it. And
Oh,
probably
yeah, see?
get one on either side.
Put that down.
This is great. But they're sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, hey, good to see you. Yeah, haven't seen you for a couple weeks." And I'm like, "Yeah, with tonight's weather, and I mean, I have nothing else to do." And I sat there, and I just kind of went, "Wait, you guys are the ones that are covering this game for the local media for us." And I kind of looked at Andy, and I went, it kind of pisses me off a little bit. Like, I'm like, it's not an afterthought. For those that are here and those that are playing, this is not an afterthought.
Yeah.
This is, for you, this is my life. I'm making money doing this. I'm playing. I'm doing what I love to do. For me, it's a dream come true, but it was just weird because it still is. And
I'll tell you who gets it. Peter gets it. Peter
Yeah.
Wilt gets it.
Yeah.
And the staff gets it. There are 2.5 minutes to fill
Yeah.
in a sportscast. So everything's got to be quick. It's got to be timely. And then if there's an issue, like a feature or something, then that's in a news block. Or
right.
the issue with the stadium, actually, I think is very good.
Yeah.
Even if they don't get the $82 million stadium, and
They're not gonna.
it's a smaller type of stadium.
Sure.
That's very good because the Indy 11 is in the news all the time.
Yeah.
Good or
Whereas
bad.
without that issue, then perhaps not. So, I think it's growing. I mean, we all love the team. Cory, you better.
You don't have a choice, sir.
Yeah.
But it's only been in existence 1 year.
Right.
The Pacers and the Colts have been around a long time, as have Tribe for almost 100 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so it's growing, and I think the coverage of it will grow as well.
Well-
Social media has really helped, and that's
Yeah.
the new.
Right.
Done a good job.
In terms of attendance, though, relative to how things were when the Colts came in, or when the with the Pacers
move
going
from
to
the ABA
and all that kind of stuff. It's almost unprecedented to have this much support for a sport that's not American. Basically, it is now, but it's the world's game. Thank you, sir. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I wasn't even expecting the amount of turnout. First couple of games, I started hearing rumblings where it's like, oh, school is sellout. Awesome. It's going to be really fun. And then it just kept going, even though we didn't win anything.
Right.
That was the big thing is Indy is a winning city. And if you don't win, the city is quick to turn on you.
Well, and I think that there you go. That's where I think the change for the fan perspective is I think the fans have felt they're very fickle. Indianapolis fans are kind of weird, though, and you can see this with attendance with the Pacers. And you can see this. The Colts have had such a long stretch of success, but the year where Manning went out, they don't want to talk about those particular numbers. It was you had the season ticket holders, but they weren't selling the same. So for the fans, though, it's like anytime there's I think this is what's built up this giant thing with the stadium and why it's been so polarizing is because you deal with major organizations or teams that when they're talking about a new stadium or moving, there's always this kind of weird contentious nature between a city and a person. Well, we can leave. And it's kind of like now you're exactly right when you said it. You've been here 1 year. And I was one of those that was kind of on the fence going, I don't think this is the time. I think just having the conversation with the city is good. Let's just see what we get. Let's not get too aggressive. But I think it's kind of this burn thing where, oh, great. So if they don't get if they don't get a stadium, what are they just going to leave, pack up and leave? And you hear that. I've read that in comments. And I think even fans feel that way. It's like anytime something doesn't go a team's way, it's, well, we can just leave. And that's not what this is about. They're not going to leave. It's here.
I think adding to that, and you guys are millennials, and I'm half dead-eel. That's what I am. But the team's done an excellent job in marketing to millennials. Now, to fill 18,500, you're going to have to market a little bit more than that.
Yep.
A place that's very family-friendly, young guys and their families, and so forth. And I think they're well on the road to that, to make it family-friendly as well as a place where guys your age want to go and see guys like Cory. I personally enjoy the atmosphere. I enjoy the play.
Yes.
I think the one thing that surprised me most, because I've watched MLS for years, I have MLS Direct Kick. Yeah. I may be the only Bright House subscriber on the west side that's got it, but sometimes it goes out.
That's because they don't care. They're not trying to fix
This is a what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get me started on Bright House.
But the play of the North American Soccer League is great.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of MLS, and I love the way you guys play.
Yeah, it's a lot better. My first year coming in, I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, oh, it'll be okay. Like, it'll be good. Like, I'm coming from a small school, so I'm happy to just be playing. But I was like, I'll be able to make my name, and it's hard to get in. You got a lot of people, a lot of good players, and obviously you see Senna, Raul coming into the league. You got all types of players from all over the place. They're reaching all different countries, bringing them in. So the play's just getting better and better.
Yeah, that's definitely. I noticed even after the first game, you can kind of see in preseason, but then first game after getting the jitters out, and then this game against Cosmos. No, this was, I'd say, just our team. Just the change of play. I mean, it's a higher level. You can definitely tell there's some guys that are. This is a second-rate soccer league. No, it's not. This is great play. This is really competitive, and I think that's the biggest thing we talked about. We were asked between the season, what's the biggest thing you're excited about for this NASL season? I said, I think the thing that drives people for why they love the Premiership is because it's competitive from top to bottom. You can have those games where you go, a Chelsea should go in to QPR. No, that's not true. It's becoming more competitive. It is becoming more. You know what? Whatever, Andy. You could go into a QPR. And it could come out either way. This was what happened on Sunday. Well, NASL from top to bottom, you're going to have some good games. I mean, going back and forth. I mean, you obviously, in any week, you can have blowouts. Things happen. But that's happened to us. It's happened. But it's competitive. And that's what draws attendance. And that's what people love is when it's a great a well-played competitive game. I think I'm noticing the difference.
Yeah,
so from last year to now, what are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, I think the team, they took a long time to put together the team this year. They were really particular.
Yeah.
So I think we have a lot of good pieces, and I think our bench is really deep. So I think we'll just keep getting better as the
What, did you just mean Don Smart? Just come on,
Hey, me and Don sitting right next to each other right now. So
yeah.
Well, that was one of the big things of, especially the second season, but the second half of the first season, is your play was standout. From my mind, your play was standout because you kicked people's asses out there. I mean, when you were out on the pitch, it was like, I hope they don't kick it near Cory because he's
going to take somebody out.
Yeah, he's going to level somebody.
I can get a little reckless too sometimes. Guys kind of shy away from me in training too. Like, we want to play on the weekend, so let's just stay away from
This guy thinks he's Sergio Ramos out here, elbowing people in the head. Yeah. Okay, Pepe, calm down.
Do you know when you're out there what you could? And I go back to basketball. A foul is what the ref says it is, but do you feel that when you're out there are some refs where you can get away with a little bit more on the defensive end?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the reffing kind of varies. I mean,
yes, it does.
No.
The actually funny. The ref that ref the Cosmos game repped a lot of my college games, and he hates me. So I was like,
he apparently hated us. He apparently hated us too.
Yeah. I was like, hopefully.
We were definitely making the red team feel pretty bad for being out there
yeah.
on Saturday.
But, yeah, I mean, you can't blame anything on the refs at the end of the game.
Did he know you were the mean kid from Olivet?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's why I grew the beard and the hair, so he didn't recognize me. I've had enough looks that I feel like nobody should recognize me at this point, but I mix it up enough.
Are you a bit of a trash talker out there? I mean,
no, I don't say anything.
Really?
I really don't
elbow people in the face.
Yeah, you just I don't really do cheap shots either. I don't try to get guys, but I'm not going to ever shy out of a tackle.
Right.
If I get them, I get them. Man. It's part of the game.
Sure.
It sounds like that's exactly what Kyle was talking about too. He goes, "Yeah, I mean, I'm small. I get out there." He goes, "I don't care. I'm gonna get right in. I'm not scared of anything."
Kyle's a little ball of muscle, man. He'll run you right over.
He doesn't care.
No.
That dude is a tank.
Yeah, he really is.
A little tank. Yeah. But super fast too.
Yeah.
One of the questions somebody had on Twitter was, did you go down to watch Orlando City recently?
Did. Yes.
They wanted to know kind of like your impressions of how that was. Was it the inaugural game?
It was.
Okay.
Nice.
Orlando SC versus NYCFC. And I don't know if my son Paul suggested it, but Paul has lived there for 7 years in Orlando, came right out of college at Asbury University and went to school or went to work for Disney originally there. But however it worked out, I flew down there and two of my two oldest sons lived there, and we managed to get tickets. We were up in the upper deck, but right on the midfield stripe.
Nice.
And so it was an absolute thrill. It was a great father-son moment, but it was also history. I mean, to see that these two franchises were playing their first game with 65,000 at the reconverted Citrus Bowl.
Yeah.
And here's, people were saying, what really was that like at work? They were asking me, and I said, well, here's what it was like. We got there. They had no scanners to scan your ticket. So you just gave it to them and went. I mean,
old school.
Yeah, it was
like
real.
They tear it off
and they didn't even do that. It's like, just give it to me and go. If you know where you're going.
Good luck.
Yeah, but it was really an exciting. I mean, Orlando was a great place to put a franchise, and the people are really fired up. You have a very large Hispanic population that's built-in soccer fans who seem to like MLS. But the programs in Florida for youth soccer, I think, are very good too. So it was a fantastic experience. It was one of the highlight sports experiences of my life to be able to see that. Yeah, and Kaká scores the goal at the end of the game. So I mean,
doesn't hurt.
I liked it.
He can flat out play.
See, that's what's that?
Let's talk a little bit about the Raul goal on Saturday. How'd you feel about that one?
So,
Mr. Real Madrid.
Well, no, for me, and it's kind of what you said earlier.
Pump down below and nobody could see.
No, because I was literally right next to the goal. So when it happened, I was like, oh my God, I got that on video. I'm never going to be able to post this because I'm going to get banned from the team.
Yeah.
No, kind of like what you alluded to earlier is it's something for me that I never thought I would see. It's not a player I would think that I would ever be able to see. A guy who owns Spanish national team records and Real Madrid records. You talking about having records for that? That's incredible because you're talking a franchise over 110 years old, and you own those records. And I got to see this guy not only play, but then score a goal. I'm glad it wasn't the game-winning goal, and I mean it sucked that it was a tie.
Me
but
too.
I was like, oh my gosh. But I mean, it was interesting to watch him play, and I will say you can tell a little bit of a difference from his experience, and you can see how savvy he is. It's not that he's got a ton of speed anymore. He's the strongest, but he knows how to use his body in ways I think a lot of young players don't understand.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's able to get leverage on people and move, and you go, wait a minute.
He's got that old man strength is what he's got.
Chuck, do you got a little bit of that as well?
No, I have absolutely no. And by the way, my wife just sent me a message, and she knows what I'm eating here, which is not healthy. But honey, I swear to you, I'm going to eat fruit tomorrow.
Yeah.
Busted from the camera.
Busted from the camera.
Sorry.
So for me, it was
Sorry,
great.
Miss
I mean,
Lofton.
it was neat to be able to see that, and that's an experience I never would have thought, especially in my own hometown. It was different if you went up to the Big House last year and you got to watch, Real Madrid and Man U play. But it's different. You're here and you're like, oh, this is awesome. It's in my backyard. This is so cool. So, I mean, obviously you weren't like starstruck or anything like that, but I mean, it's. I don't know. Was there any talk about, hey, this is a guy we need to be watching for?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think it needed to be said. We're like, all right, that's Raul.
That's Raul.
Like he said,
This
he's
guy
not
knows how to score goals.
not gonna beat you for pace or any of that, but he's obviously gonna be savvy.
Right.
He's gonna be able to play the ball into little pockets. So just keep him under pressure, make him go back, and we'll be okay. Same thing with Senna. I mean, you guys, same caliber.
What are some of the things that you're working on this year as opposed to last year personally to improve your game?
I want to be a better person. Every day I spend 10 minutes
You're
reading.
gonna give 10 more high fives of practice.
There you go, exactly. And I become a hugger. I want to get people.
I was already a hugger. Don't have to worry about that.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Just trying to stay healthy. Really, I was injured at the end of the season.
That's an interesting goal. I just want to stay healthy.
I just
man.
want to stay healthy, and I don't know. Try to just get better with my possession. I gave the ball away a little too cheaply at times, so and then just my positioning off of the other players on the back line. And I think I'm getting a lot of that watching like Greg, because Greg's so experienced. I get to kind of see that every day in practice and training. So it's been nice to be, watching him. Obviously, I'd like to be in his role.
Right.
But if you're going to be sitting, it's nice to be sitting behind a guy like that, and you get to learn. So every day I get to learn from him and from Eric.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing.
It is. I mean, it's a good mentality to have, though, too. Like when they pick up somebody like Greg Janicki, and you're like, yeah, I'd like to be out there, but with his experience, I could probably learn a ton.
Yeah. I mean, you just take it. It's like, you can either get mad about it and like, oh, I'm not playing, or you can be like, oh, I have like 2 30-year-old veterans that are both playing really well. I mean, I guess I'm the young guy in the totem pole. I got to sit and watch. I mean, it's just fine.
Yeah.
You just learn from it.
Right.
But it takes time. You get frustrated at first. I was like, I was ready to come in, and then Greg, you came in and took my spot. But no, it's good.
There's no like hidden bitterness here at all. It's not just seating. So
You
Chuck,
would think it's weird that professional soccer players are competitive.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
It makes it worse because I like them both so much. If they were jerks, I'd be like, yes, I'm gonna beat you out. But
I
it's
mean,
like,
Morales
man,
was on like every team of the week last year, I think, too. It
Yeah.
seemed like.
it was very Canadian all of a sudden. It's like, oh, I love both those guys so much. I
Hey,
just
I
don't
love
want
those gays.
Those guys are so
Hey,
good.
you're good gays.
So Chuck, what do you want to be better at this year? For career-wise, what are the things you look at from last year to this year that you're doing differently?
I actually do that.
Yeah?
There you go.
I actually do that. I'm not a goal setter per se, but I am. Every year, I have a review with my boss, and they tell me my failings. So that's the great place to
Chuck,
start.
you got to do better at the state fair. The state fair, you were a little sloppy this year.
That's right. You
come
didn't-
back strong.
That's
later.
right. You didn't give that pig that you kissed on the ear the full kiss.
Brain game, you need to be faster at
Actually,
reading.
that's one of my goals. I took over the Brain Gate last year.
Right.
Chris had done it for a number of years, Bob Gregory before, and it's really hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
I'm the weather guy. Come on.
That's
now.
right. But yeah, I do like to set goals, and I mean, a few years ago, the band Chicago is my favorite band. All right, my wife and I got to meet them a few weeks ago at an event downtown. Well, Jimmy Pankow, the trombone player, has been playing the same songs for 47 years.
Right.
Color My World and Just You and Me and all that stuff. And I heard in an interview, he said, the guy said, how can you do that? Play the same song every night. And he said, because my goal is not to have fun with the song anymore. It's to make that song as perfect as I can, note for note, every night. And he said it completely has changed my life by doing that. And the whole band does that. With me, I've been doing the weather here for 30 years,
right?
In the morning, every day. So I try to make each day as good as I can. What's the next great effort that I put out today? How can I make this better, as perfect as I can? So,
I mean, you're pretty seasoned at a point. If the prompter or if your green screen goes out or something, you're on the fly. I don't see you having any issues on there. I've never seen you on a YouTube snippet of a weatherman loses it.
Well, the lawsuits did help in that area, stopping that from getting. You just try and do the best you can, and I want to work till I'm 70. That's kind of the goal that I have, and one of the ways to keep doing that is to keep fresh every day. So,
wow, nice.
Now, obviously, much like soccer players, TV personalities kind of move around from market to markets and things like that.
They get traded.
Yeah,
Like,
we can call it that.
Right.
Fired is another thing.
Oh, it's a real job.
Furloughed.
Amicable reasons.
That's right. We're going on to further endeavors. We wish him the very best.
It's always just so sweet when you see the messages come out. I want to thank the station for my time here. It's been great, and as I pursue my further endeavors, you go, oh, they got canned.
That's right.
Well, and we asked about Cory's journey. Your journey in terms of just getting here and staying here. What kind of progress or process was that in getting this job? And
It was probably not originally intended to be that, to stay here for 30 years. I'm from the Chicagoland area,
Right.
and I think at one point in my career, the goal was to get back home. Well, all of my family moved away. And I found after about 6 years here, this is really turning into a great city. This is a great place to raise a family. It's growing.
It's not Naptown
Things
anymore.
are new. It is not Naptown anymore. It's exciting, and the taxes are low.
Yeah, there you go.
Property taxes.
We came to the real point. That's why.
That's right. But I just fell in love with the city, and honestly fell in love with the city after about 3 months here.
Wow. Okay.
And so my wife and I raised all of our children here and love it as much or more now than we did when we first came. And I mean, when you have a love affair with the place that you live, why would you even want to go away? And so, they may have wanted me to go away at Channel 13, but they've been awesome. Best ownership in America for a TV station, I think.
Wow.
So it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Well, so I have it almost. This is kind of an important line of questioning for one of the viewers who's watching, an almost 10-year-old who is a science and math whiz, who is dead set on being a meteorologist.
That's great.
So just about a month ago, Noblesville Fire Department and the National Weather Service did a kind of storm tracker, not chasers.
Right.
You got to make that clear.
Right.
No chasing.
Right.
Babe, we're going to go chasing. So they did it. The classes, she was the only kid there. And she showed up with she had her iPod Touch, her notes, and she's out there just taking, she wants to know everything that's on there. So we've been looking into camps as well. Mm-hmm. So for those that don't know, where did you go to school for meteorology?
I originally went to school for radio and television.
Okay.
That was my original major. And a long process that kind of led to me going into weather. But when I did, I was very fortunate because in Evansville at the time, there was a National Weather Service office. So rather than go directly into the station, I went first to the National Weather Service office.
Okay.
And so for a few years I was there and got basically trained by the best of the best. Eventually took all the tests that I needed to get my seal of approval from the National Weather Association. So that's initially how I kind of backdoored into that. But, you know, for a young kid to love weather that much, that's fantastic.
So, I mean, I've been looking at, I don't know if you know for any recommendations. I see like Penn State always has a good program.
Ball State has
Ball State.
Ball State and
Ball State
Valparaiso.
does.
Ball
Okay.
State and Valparaiso.
Okay, good.
And
because
Purdue.
tuition-
Yeah,
There you go.
Ball
Yeah.
State, Valpo, and Peru. In fact, when Angela Buckman was a student at IU, she called me and you know said, I'm doing this major, but I really want to go into weather. And, you know, IU folks are hate my guts, I'm sure. But I said, well, then you probably would like to at least check out Purdue.
Wow.
And so she
So
left.
really make IU hate this.
Yeah, and I love IU, but she did go from IU to Purdue and majored in meteorology. And
So they have a meteorology program.
they
there
do.
as
they
well,
have
Purdue.
they have
Okay.
an excellent meteorology program.
All right,
We're
you
very
hear that,
blessed
Kehlani?
in this state.
There we go. Okay, good. All right. No, I told her I would ask.
Yep.
Chuck, it's not every day you get to have I mean, again, that you
An
talk about
award-winning.
it, award-winning, right? 30 years. Not everybody could say they've been with the same station for that long. You know, I mean,
A
it's
lot of people
not
say that you could be at the same
job for 30 years. That's very true. No, exactly. So no, I appreciate that. That's okay. Now you can go do something else. You can stop watching that. So,
Really don't. We gotta keep watching.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right.
In terms of back to Cory, in terms of preparation for games, and I know we've actually talked to some players that are like, I don't really watch a lot of film of you know the opposing team and how they attack and how people work on which foot and all that kind of stuff. What kind of preparation do you do personally to go into things, or you just kind of play it by ear and you've been doing it long enough that you kind of notice trends when you're actually on the game?
No, I'll actually watch during the year. I'll watch quite a bit of the games. If it's not just a half or whatever it is, I'll just watch. Sometimes not even to pick out stuff, but just to kind of just watch the play in general. Not really pick out necessarily certain people, but I don't do that on like a regular basis. But I'll watch it. You know, if we're in the hotel and I got nothing to do, I'll just watch. I'll watch a half of the previous game that they played. But a lot of the times the coaches give us little snippets and stuff, so we get a sense of what they play like and what we need to look out for. So yeah, preparation wise, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't really do too much.
Last year in ASL wise, who was the toughest to defend that you can remember, and who did you know I've got their number, and even if they get close to me, they're not getting past me.
There was the Fort Lauderdale guy, FIFA Picault. He actually plays.
His name is actually
FC.
FIFA.
It's like I can't even remember. It's something like that.
That's a good soccer name.
Picault, I think is his last name, but he plays for FC Sparta in where is he now? It's in Netherlands, I think.
Yeah.
So he's playing for them now, but he was probably the hardest guy to play against, I would think.
A guy we can't verify even exists.
Yeah,
You know that one guy.
I just made up a guy,
This
honestly.
guy on Fort Lauderdale that may or may not be there.
Yeah. And easiest, gosh, I don't even know about easiest.
Or just somebody that you kind of knew, okay, I got this guy's number. Or
Really, I don't have a problem with any of the guys that are bigger, like my size.
Yeah.
I actually prefer playing against them than the little fast, speedy guys. Mostly because when I try to body them up, I like hit them in the face and get called for fouls. Like I use my arms a lot, if you notice when I play, and so it's like I'm like jamming people in the face, and it's just harder to.
We're going to take this off the Olivet
Yeah,
Nazarene
right,
recruiting tape.
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't
exactly.
play like him. But yeah, it's. I would say that the bigger guys are much easier for me to defend than
Okay.
the smaller guys.
Kind of for both of you guys too, in terms of media this year, and broadcasting with everything being on ESPN3 now, and we're getting that interesting aspect of how teams view their broadcast. We can't get in trouble for it, so
No, we can't
obviously-
get. Well,
yeah.
okay. Well, we're spoiled. But first off,
Yeah.
let's spoil. But the
It's
guy
Greg
who does
Strong.
ours just won an award. right?
Greg
So
Rakestraw just
Greg Rakestraw is excellent at
Right.
anything he does.
and that's another guy who, decades of service of doing the same thing and being sports director and doing. Right, we are spoiled because we have two incredible guys
Greg and Brad do a
that,
really
that
good job.
really mesh. Where one guy he's got the radio chops like very few do, and then another guy who's a little more emotional. Right, a little more emotional about stuff, and Greg will reel him in, and they work really well together. And I really hope one day to have that chemistry with you. I really
We'll never have.
No, I never would. No, so we're kind of spoiled. So we hear some of these other broadcasts, which I think is where you're going
Yeah,
down.
yeah, Atlanta especially, and
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Atlanta with them butchering Christian's name over and over again. Did you?
I can't make any comments on any of this, but
You know this.
there-
You're gonna,
there's some
Kaluter is calling you
questionable
right now.
commentary on the
Yes.
games.
Yes. Yeah, and it's definitely flipping through other games and watching those guys announce. There's a lot of dead air. There's a lot of I don't know where somebody's going to pick up and things like that. And it's very hard to do any.
It's
kind of
very
sports
hard to do.
broadcast.
Soccer is a very difficult sport, and it's not done by many people. So, and I don't know the background of all of these guys. I suspect that some of them may be a sports director at a TV station saying,
Sure.
try and do it. Try, and it
honestly.
doesn't. Very few places have the luxury.
Because you've done
I'm
some
not-
play-by-play before as well, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did. When I was a younger guy, I did basketball, baseball, football, hockey, but never did soccer. And I think it would be very difficult. But I'm not trying to plug Channel 8 here, believe me. But Greg, not at all. But Greg does. Greg does a marvelous job.
Right.
And of course, now it's on Spanish radio here in town.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
fantastic.
And that ESPN3 deal, and just the ESPN deal for the MLS and soccer in general in the United States, especially American-grown teams. Anytime you watch a Portland game, you're like, I want to be there. Anytime you watch a Seattle game, I want to be there. Or when they play each other.
Sporting KC.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Sporting KC too. And just this weekend. Or just this week, it's a big soccer week too, especially just in Texas, because you got USA
National
Mexico
team,
friendly tomorrow,
Sold
and
out.
then
Done.
4 days later,
Indy
Indy 11 plays San Antonio, and it's a big. And there's going to be another big following of fans down there too, because I know at least.
Well, and down there today, they went ahead and they announced, because they're already down there, and they announced the U.S. Women's National Team roster today, the 23.
Yeah,
that
I
made it,
saw that.
which is good. So yes, you have that kind of in play, and it's a big week down there.
Anytime that there's a USA Mexico game, it's never a friendly.
No.
Even though they call it a friendly,
Right.
it's never friendly.
And now I have way more appreciation after hearing Christian talk about being down in Mexico City playing. Like when we go down to play at Azteca,
Yeah,
just
he
how
said it's
hard.
horrible.
It's like two miles up or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
The air is
He was
super
messaging
thin.
me while he was there, and he's like, "Dude, I'm dying. This is horrible."
He's like, first training, I was 15 minutes in. I was just like,
Yeah.
They're like, why did we sign you? That's so hard. Yeah.
we're like, Christian, now you can run probably like 4 miles, no problem.
Yeah.
No big deal, because training at altitude. But yeah,
You
we're about an hour in, so
We like to keep it short here now with that. So unless
I just wanted to shout out to one of my best buddies in the world,
Whoa,
Bruce
whoa.
Kopp,
Whoa, we're not
Who-
doing this. I'm just kidding.
who's got to be one of the greatest soccer fans in this city. No kidding.
we're working on getting Bruce on.
He
too, so.
loves
Nice.
he loves Man U, he loves Indy 11, and he loves IUPUI because his son
Son.
Jonathan's a player there.
Oh,
So that's
nice.
great.
Nice.
Now, have you
Wait,
gone
that's
to some
3
games
plugs.
already?
To the Indy 11
Yes.
games? Well, I'm a season ticket holder.
Okay, well,
so,
where are you sitting?
I am sitting about 4 rows this year in back of their bench.
Okay.
Last year I was on the other side. My tickets for the first game went to Sean Ash
Okay.
because I had an event that I had to attend in Muncie, but we'll be there for the next
Are
home.
we gonna get you to ever sneak over to the Brickyard Battalion section?
won't hang out with us.
Yeah.
I actually have been over there and said hi to everybody and have a picture taken, and it's pretty cool.
And then he leaves because he's
Then I
smart.
leave.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Get me out of here. I'm good. We're good. What is the? Oh, go ahead.
No.
Oh, I was just gonna say, in terms of listening to chants and listening to some of the things that have been said in the Brickyard Battalion, is there anything that sticks out that's probably something that you've tried really hard not to at least crack up or get caught in your head? And
I don't know if there's one, but there was a chant at the game that we had no idea what they were saying, and we
Last
sat
game?
on the bench for like 10 minutes trying to figure out what the chant was.
at the last game,
Yeah, we have no idea what it was.
There was a couple of new ones.
It sounded like something Neuralis, but
Yeah, there was the Neuralis chant.
What?
Oh, we have.
See, I said it was Neuralis.
Yeah, it is Neuralis. Yes, it is Neuralis. Yes, you're dead on. What's
was
ask
right.
Peter?
Yeah, somebody's
Nobody-
gonna tweet me like, "Oh, it's this." And they're yelling at their
Nobody
screen
wanted
right
to
now.
believe me. I was like, no, they're saying Neuralis. I don't know what else.
Tweet
but-
us #BYBcast.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Peter Evans here as well. Let's one of you guys.
Peter
I'm sure
Evans
you
is
know.
down in Texas.
Oh,
so I
that's
don't know
true.
if he's
He is on the
listening right now.
Texas tour. All right. Well, anybody from Slaughterhouse or the BYB has got to know what that
Yeah.
is. So
So, what do you, both of you guys? What are the hopes for? I mean, realistic hopes for the season, for Indy 11 season.
Hopes for the season, make the playoffs, which I don't think isn't too far out of the question. Baby steps, but I think if we can slip into the playoffs or even host, like that would be a great.
It does feel like a
Great
lot of people
accomplishment.
do have that mentality that this team has already clicked already,
Yeah,
and it's definitely looking good. Just
Yeah.
2 games in, but still, I went to a couple. I went to one of the preseason games. You guys looked really good preseason wise. So
yeah. We my rookie year in Carolina, we actually won the regular season. I mean, we ran away with it halfway through the season.
Right.
We knew, so it kind of trailed off at the end of the season because
You
we
guys
were
were
like, oh, we
basically
already
fired.
won. We're like 20 points ahead of everyone. And I mean, this team is just as good as that team, if not better.
Really?
And,
Oh, nice.
and
you've had
the-
both perspectives. You've been on both ends
Yeah,
of the spectrum here.
I was kind of like a fill-in guy, so I only played probably 10 games my rookie year, but I got a sense of the league, and the league's obviously way better now than it was 4 or 5 years ago when I played in it before. But I think for sure there's no doubt that we should be able to make the playoffs with the team we have, and I'm sure they'll keep adding pieces and players in the next coming weeks.
I mean, you guys are undefeated right now. So
All right, 7 games undefeated from last year.
Yeah.
too.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
That's right. Chuck?
I would love to see him. I kind of, my aspect obviously is different than Cory because I'm not there slapping people in the head.
Yeah, right.
But as a fan, and then kind of a fan of our city, I know what this would do. I know what this would do if the Indy 11 were to reach the playoffs. It would bring everything to a new level, and I think you guys can do it too. I'd love to see it, and it would be nice to come away with 3 points in San Antonio
Yeah,
too.
that
It would be
great.
awesome.
Be great for Greg too. We could stick it to him.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So what
and
I
Billy Ford.
and Billy Ford. We're not going to talk about Billy
Oh,
Ford.
yeah,
So then we have one expectation from you, Chuck. So starting with the 25th, it needs to be clear weather.
Yes.
We don't need any right. If we can get somehow a shader for when Christian's in goal facing west, we need
We
a
need to
sun
put up
shader.
something because
Yeah,
it's
sun-
terrible. It
I
is
was
awful.
wondering, how has that been? I mean, because obviously this wasn't intended as a soccer stadium. So
Yeah.
being east to west, you never do.
Yeah.
So what is it? Like,
Real quick, Stevie from the he said that it's Indiana Uber Alice.
What?
Indiana Uber Alice.
Yes, Indiana Uber Alice.
What is that?
It's the chant.
Just a chant? Okay.
Yeah, it's a
I
chant.
like Neuralis.
There needs to be a Neuralis chant.
I think we convert that, but we're not going to
Yeah.
right. So
Indiana Uber Neuralis.
wait a minute, think of Neuralis picks people up in an
Yeah,
Uber
yes.
as an Uber driver.
Hey, yeah.
Wait a minute, maybe we need a new segment where we get an Indy
It's
11
gonna be like
player.
the hidden cam, like
Yes.
what's the taxi show? You get Neuralis in there.
to get the cash cab or whatever.
Yeah, cash cab with
Oh
Neuralis,
my gosh.
but he won't be able to talk to anybody. So.
Yeah, it'd be like Cleberson driving too. Like, where do you want to go? And he just drives in
Yes,
circles.
let's get Clem in there. That'd be
He
great.
drives in circles around it. Okay. So,
Indiana over everything, basically.
oh, okay. Oh,
All right. Yeah, we had no idea what that was. I was so confused on the bench.
I was so
It's like, did
confused.
Neuralis do something good or bad? I'm not really sure.
Are they
Right.
happy with him? Well, they
Yeah.
weren't telling him to
Were they
shoot him
just
like a
picking
horse,
somebody
right?
out?
Yeah, they're not telling him. They're not saying to shoot Eric Neuralis like a horse.
Yeah.
So I think we're okay.
Golly, man, that was I'm surprised we still have that. 'Cause we actually had
I guess
PETA
somebody from PETA was
From
there
PETA?
the
Yeah.
first night that we
Yeah.
actually started saying shoot him like a horse,
Yeah.
and they weren't.
Well,
See, you got to
no.
keep politics out of soccer.
Yeah, all right.
Just
Oh
go out
my
there and enjoy
gosh.
the game.
When somebody said, they go, well, what else do you do with it when they go lame?
Yeah.
Like make glue? I said, oh my
Yeah, just
Great,
make
so-
a make glue chant from now on.
God.
That seems a
them
little
into
more
glue.
appropriate.
Make them into glue. Right. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, this has been good. I appreciate you guys coming on. I
Yeah,
know
thanks.
you
Yeah.
have crazy schedule. You got to get to bed.
Yeah, I'm headed home.
I
but,
see it fading in his eyes here. So make sure to check out tomorrow morning,
Yes.
starting at
4 a.m. on sunrise.
There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah, that's
how,
right.
How do
How's the
people get a hold of you if they're like social media wise.
317 no,
See Lofton at WTHR.com. My Twitter handle is Chuck WTHR.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
So,
yes, Chuck
You're super
WTHR.
active though in terms of responding to people.
Or do you have somebody
and things
doing
like
it for
that,
you?
no, I'm not that smart. But Lord bless you guys. Thank you for having me.
thanks.
It was
And
great.
then,
It was great to have Cory.
Yeah,
And of
thanks.
course, the Big Bald Assassin, just Big Bald
Yeah, it's
Assassin.
just at Big Bald Assassin. I can't change it now. It's like gotten too deep. So
It's
I was gonna change the Twitter handle, and everyone's like, nobody's gonna be able to find
It's
you.
probably one of the best Twitter handles on the team.
Because you're like, man,
I
that guy
appreciate
probably
that.
hurts people. So yeah,
And
it's
nobody would expect it to be me. So.
Right.
What do your parents think of that?
And they're okay with it. They knew once I was losing my hair, and they gave me that name in LA. They were like, "Oh, geez."
Yeah,
So,
but now it's
my brother
serious.
loves it. I'm sure if you see anything with me on social media, he's written or done something. He's big into social media and promoting me.
That's
You
awesome.
don't do too bad on social media though, in terms of
Yeah.
responding and stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Some of the other guys
hit or
on the
miss.
team-
I'm
on the
getting
other
better
team,
though.
They're there every day.
Yeah.
John Dawson, I think, just lives on. I'm
Oh,
surprised
no,
he's
he
not
does.
tweeting.
based
from
on
the
what we've
bench.
heard,
Yeah.
John Dawson just talks all the time now too. So
Imagine.
He'll
imagine
talk.
that, right?
He'll talk to you.
Of course, thanks Chatham Tap and Fishers for having us as always. The Upland Tap Takeover is tonight, featuring all sorts of beers from Upland that I don't want to go through right now.
Yes, and we always want to give a shout out. Thank you, the BYB. Thank you, Indy 11, for all the access, everything that you do. Obviously, Flat 12
Full 90.
beer, right? Official beer of the Permanent Relegation Podcast, the full 90 pale ale. Make sure you try it. It's delicious.
Yes, follow us on Twitter at PR Podcast Show.
Check out permanentrelegation.com. Hit us up on Facebook.
And this guy did some amazing pictures on Saturday of the BYB and the game and everything like that. So check out our website. There's a folder that we made just for the game on Saturday. We got a couple of videos out on their YouTube page too.
Got
so
that beard, baby. I got,
got it?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
zoomed
Oh,
in?
man. Oh, it looks good.
There we
It's
go.
gleaming in that.
We'll
in
show it
that
off.
beard.
I'm gonna have to get a hold of that so I can.
All right.
appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
As always, you can watch us on YouTube, and we'll be back probably next week.
Yes. All right.
Thanks,
Sweet.
guys.
Hala Madrid.
Thanks.
Glory, glory, Man United.
Glory, glory, Man United.
Always.
Oh man, this thing was like cracking in and out. I was having trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.